And good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Jonathan Cragle. If you've been keeping track of the podcast, you'll notice that it has taken a little while, a bit of a while, for part 2 of the Jason Marlowe interview to get released. And it is here. I finally have it recovered. Had some technical issues with it. Some garbled sound, but through the magic of technology and the fact that I am an IT person and I'm bullheaded and wanted to make sure you all had a chance to hear part 2, I have been working on getting this taken care of before I worried about any other kind of interviews or bringing out episodes of myself talking. So finally, without any delay or excuses, here is part 2 of my conversation with my friend, Jason Marlowe. Enjoy, everyone. We haven't talked about, usually as guys, the first thing we lead with is, hi, I'm so-and-so, and, what do you do for a living? So we never have talked about what do you currently do? You are a blank for blank.
I am a safety manager for Granite Construction Company, one of the largest civil contractors in the United States. So I just crossed over the 31-year mark of working for Granite.
Cool.
And I've kind of had 2 careers so far with Granite. Coming out of college, right, a lot of people are like, what am I going to do? And so I entered into, construction and started off working on the craft side of things. And so I spent 15 years working, in the trenches, essentially, right? Laying pipe, building roads, laying asphalt, heavy equipment operator, being a foreman. And then I transferred over to the safety side of things. Not because I lost interest in building. I just wanted to try and make a difference on the other side of things. And the main reason why I switched to being a safety manager wasn't because I got hurt or I got forced into it or whatever. It's because it's a passion of mine to see people be able to go home safe every day.
Sure.
And I was seeing far too many people, whether it's just little dings and dents every day or being injured on some level, whether it's minor or severe. And so it just kind of tugs at my heartstrings. I'm very much a people person, and I want to see the very best for people. And so I look at where the areas that I manage, we were having so many people being injured. It was just a different philosophy. And to look at where we're at now, the areas that I manage, I haven't had any of my employees hurt in years, right? We still have a few dings and dents, but for me,
no major injuries that would have happened.
It's all about the people for me, right?
How did you make a transition? Did you have to go to classes? Did they just simply, you said, hey, I want to be a safety manager, and they kind of designated you? How would you make that transition?
It was difficult. I kind of had to fight my way in, but I always, say when it comes to Granite, and, we're not perfect, but I always say, hey, we're the land of opportunity, right? We're a very large company, right? We have over 7,000 employees, and we work all over the place. But I had to fight and claw my way in. It took me about 2 years to finally get someone to say, okay, you've been persistent enough. Let's sit down and talk. And I've done a lot of schooling. I've got a lot of certifications. And so, like I said, oftentimes you may see someone that's a safety manager and they're like, oh, you got here because you got injured. You can't do your job. So, hey, let's make you the safety guy.
Right.
Or for me, it was a different avenue, right? I got into it because I couldn't stand seeing people, getting hurt or unnecessary incidents taking place. Right. And so it's a passion of mine, to, take care of people.
Well, I think especially in the construction world, I did construction early on in my life, and there are sketchy situations. The job has to get done, and so sometimes if that meant you had to put 2x4s down to cross over an area that was completely wrong, like the way we did things, and the way that today we have the knowledge to keep people safe. There are going to be those off situations that are unplanned. Equipment breaks that was inspected and was fine, and it just broke for whatever reason. But generally speaking, safety is something that's manageable if we manage it.
Yeah. There's over my career, I kind of call it the cowboy way. We've had to work that out of people's mindset, right, and kind of teach them, the safer way to work, right? We are very, very transparent with what we do. We hide nothing from anybody, and we're all about learning opportunities, right? If something doesn't go right, we don't just sweep it under the rug, right? We sit down, we talk through it, and we learn from it, and that's how we get better every day.
Very cool. And as we talked work, I apologize, I forgot to ask. You've got grandkids. How many kids do you have?
I have 5.
5 kids.
With my new marriage to Karen. I have two more beautiful daughters.
Okay.
So 4 daughters and 1 son.
One guy.
Yeah.
That's good though. We all need women in our life. I have 4 sons and 1 daughter. So sort of the opposite of you, but we're given what we need. And so I've heard you talk proudly about each one. Certainly Cole.
Cole's my son.
Yeah. I've heard through the years just the pride of that. So if you're listening, and if you're not listening, you should be listening to Unleash the Cragle. But if you are Jason's kids, he talks proudly about you even when you're not around, and loves you dearly. I can tell you as a friend of his, at just listening at the gym. Awesome. So let's kind of bounce back. I didn't want to mention that because I realized I talked to grandkids and your marriage, but forgot about kids. So let me ask you some young person comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to follow in the path you followed," or I want to get into construction, or kind of that path. What advice would you give them? I mean, based on your experience, or besides run away, don't get into it, or whatever that would be. I mean, if somebody came and asked for your advice about getting into your field, what would you say? It's
honestly, it's an amazing field right now in today's day and age. It's so hard to get people to want to come in and work construction, right? Especially after, we got through all the pandemic and everything, and there was so much remote work, right? That kind of changed the way people think and perceive construction, right? I mean, we get out there, we get dirty and work hard, work anything from days to nights to weekends, and sometimes even out of town. So it's not for everyone, but honestly, it's been a great career. I still got a ways to go in it. I encourage people to, come in and work it, right? We're a huge union company. So obviously we go through that for our employees. But we've got some just outstanding individuals that their talent and their skill set is just boggling on how good they are. I look at, not college isn't for everyone, right? And some people look at it as, hey, I went through college and what do I do? How am I going to pay the bills, right? And oh, by the way, I now have anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 in student debt.
Right.
Construction into the field that I've gotten into, it's great, right? You have apprenticeships, and these are paid apprenticeships, right? You're not going into debt for these, and you go through anywhere from depending on what career path you are, a 2-year to a 4-year apprenticeship, and the pay scale kind of follows you up through that, right? And you can make a really good living at this. Your benefits are incredible.
So what inspired you? You got out of college, you said were you inspired to do construction, or did you kind of look at what your degree is in?
I actually went to school for law enforcement. And then I kind of quickly realized that that's probably not the field for me, right? I looked to Mitch has an uncle that's a retired law enforcement officer, and I spent time talking with him and just kind of like, hey, give me the realistic approach. What am I not seeing? What am I not hearing? And he, kind of sat me down and talked to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's not for me.
Sure.
And so the other part, right, was I was looking to be a like a phys ed teacher, and just life takes you in different directions, and that didn't work out either. I grew up, my dad, instilled work ethic in us, and, get out there and work hard. And so that kind of fell into the, laboring out in the field and building roads and, things like that, and operating heavy equipment. And it just kind of became a natural fit for me. And, 31 and a half years later, here I am still doing it.
Well, you must be an important person, because the first thing when I met you was, all I remember is he's the guy with the green truck with the yellow granite on the side, and so they're better for you being with them, and you're better for you being with granite, certainly through the years and such. So we're kind of winding down. I told you 45 minutes, but we engaged in such a good conversation that, just kind of winding down, and we could talk, I'm sure, the rest of the day, but you got to get home to your family, and I want to watch some college football. So do you have not just work related, if you picked one or two things to a listener, could be a young person or whatever, but something from your life or life experience or life lessons, that if there was two things you could share, it doesn't have to be CrossFit, just what are the two things that you would say to those people?
Don't quit and show up every day, right? Regardless of the adversity that you're facing, whether it's work, personal life, whatever it may be, you're never going to regret showing up, right? You're never going to regret that at all. You will regret quitting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've quit before. I don't know that I've ever been to the top of the mountain. Still looking forward to getting there, but I've quit, and it was one of the biggest regrets in my life. Right? When I quit, everything changed, right? My personal life changed. Ended up getting a divorce. I look back at myself as a college athlete, and I was in amazing shape. When I quit, I had stepped on the scale earlier in the day, not knowing that Mitch was going to come knock on my door that one random day. I had stepped on the scale, and I was just like, wow, never ever thought I'd be here. I was 305 pounds. In college, I wrestled 158.
Wow.
My off season walking around workout weight was 185, right? Typical CrossFitter weight there.
Yeah.
But I had ballooned all the way up to 305 pounds. I was losing my breath trying to bend over and tie my shoes.
Wow.
And I was like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And, thank goodness for that knock on the door.
Sure.
Thank goodness for the accountability of Matt and Kaylee. And all these years later to, just show up, right? We'll help you get through the hour today, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to help you get through your evening, your tomorrow, your next week, right?
Yeah.
Just show up.
Yeah.
Life has a lot of adversities, right? There's ups and downs, there's curveballs that we don't anticipate, right? Some of them we bring on ourselves, some just happen.
They just happen.
But give yourself the chance, right? If you show up, you never know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you're never going to regret it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to a member earlier today before the 9 o'clock class, and echoing what you're saying, every time I have the urge or I have that feeling of, I think I'm just going to take a break today. Unless I'm physically hurt, there's a reason I literally can't. And that's rare. That's only probably happen, surgeries or whatever, but I could still at least come and do something. I now have the approach where when my voice says, I don't think I'm going to go today, that regardless if it's church or CrossFit, that's not my motivation to say, nope, I now need to go, because my brain is telling me, just take it off today. And just showing up is, hey, you know what? You don't know what's going to happen, but if you give yourself that benefit, sometimes we need a break, but generally I take enough breaks and rest periods during the week. For me, I think I'll just take a break today means, if I lose that, if I show up, if I come in, I'm surprised. And I never, like you, echoing what you said, I'm never disappointed. I needed that. I just didn't realize it when I was saying to myself, probably just take tonight off. But when I have not done that in the past, I'm absolutely, whatever I thought I was going to get out of that night or evening or rest never happened. So I would actually echo it and even, and say, if you've got the feeling of, hey, I'm just going to take tonight off, no, grab your clothes, run home if you have to, go to the next class after it. But if it's CrossFit or whatever it is in your life you're avoiding, go do it, because you'll be better for that. So
it can snowball on you pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
And
that just hey, I'm going to take a break for me turned into 3 years of being pretty sedentary. And the same thing, I didn't balloon up in weight, but my muscular capability, my strength went down, my waist expanded. So my weight didn't gradually go up or anything radical, but my waist got bigger. And it was because I was losing muscle mass. So the weight of muscle was actually less. So I fooled myself into, I'm not any different weight-wise. But when you looked at my measurements today, I'm a beefy 260. I weighed myself where I came in. Probably the most I've ever weighed in my life, but my waist went down by 2 inches since I came back in the last couple months to CrossFit.
Like we talked about, right? Life has its ups and downs, right? And we all have periods where we struggle. I look at last summer, my work schedule was hectic. And, again, going back to accountability, right? I'd get phone calls or texts from Kaylee, and she's like, where are you? Yeah, I've only seen your name on the whiteboard 4 times this month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just busy. And she goes, are you making an effort? And I'm like, I'm working like crazy. I said, yeah, every day. She's, no, are you making an effort to prioritize
your fitness?
Yeah. Right? She says, we all know it's more than fitness, right? It's your family, it's your community, it's therapy, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's such a great friend. She's like, we can talk about this as far as CrossFit goes, but I only see your name here 4 times this month. Are there other areas in your life where you're not prioritizing?
Yeah.
Right? Are you having the so-called work-life balance, right? The family, everything else. And she goes, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I said, I'm being honest. I've made some excuses, right? I'm tired. She goes, we're all tired.
Yeah.
Right? We all have jobs. We all have family responsibilities.
Yeah.
She goes, what are you prioritizing? Right?
Yeah.
How many excuses are you coming up with? Right? And if I look back in life, especially to what got me up to 305 pounds was, I had a bad week at work. I mean, just, one of the worst. And I used to go out on Monday nights to our church, and there'd be a handful of us that would show up there. We were actually setting up for Tuesday morning women's Bible study, but as soon as we got done with that, we played basketball, right? Well, one, wrestlers should never play basketball. So that's free advice there. It was a something physical to do, but I absolutely did not want to go that night. And I was coming up with excuses, and I got a buddy, Ken. He's just like, just show up. And, and here's that phrase again.
Yeah.
All these years later. And so I went, and I didn't have the best attitude. By the end of the night, I found myself in the hospital. I had compound fracture of my right ankle, right? And that led to 4 surgeries of rebuilding my ankle over the course of a number of years. I struggle with that. And I've allowed that to kind of be a crutch in life and to be a little bit of an excuse factory for me every once in a while. It was, oh, hey, I better scale this workout because of this, right? Or whatever. Right. And, oh, I better not show up because it's been a long week and I'm tired and I'm fatigued. This could potentially happen. Well, it may not happen either. Right. And so, now I look at in life, hey, why am I making excuses, right? I've never regretted showing up for work. I've never regretted showing up for a workout, right? I never regret coming home to my, amazing big family, right? And so we all have something in life that could be a crutch or could be an excuse for us, right? Yeah. But we have these amazing people in our lives that continue to hold us accountable, continue to push us. And, if you look at here at I Love It, we've got, what I believe are the best coaches in the world and the best owners. And they'll like, hey, we'll scale. We'll figure it out, right? Yeah. And if you can't do what we've got on the workout, we'll get you on a bike. We'll just get you moving, right? But show up,
right?
And leave the excuse. Check the excuses at the door, because you, like we've said, you're not going to regret that.
What drives you for the future besides just going to work every day and coming to CrossFit? Do you have any kind of goals or things that maybe 1 or 2 things you're pursuing right now?
Go back to, faith, family, and fitness, right? Obviously, my faith is incredibly important to me. It's the foundation of my life, right? So continuing to grow closer to God in every aspect of my life, right? So that's a daily goal there. With my family, I never want to settle, right? I want to be the best husband that I can be, the best dad that I can be. I say I'm not old enough to be a grandfather. All of my kids and my grandkids, they call me Pop, right? But I want to be there for my family, right? I want them to see the very best version of me and to see that there's nothing I won't do for them, right? I love on them radically. And as far as, future goals for fitness, continuing to get better, right? There's a lot of movements that I haven't even been able to achieve yet that are kind of on my bucket list of things to do, get my first bar muscle up, things like that, right? I've been at this now for a number of years. Some of those are, things that I haven't focused on yet, but, just to be, continue to push myself, right? In other areas. And, it's, I get a lot of joy out of that. So just, faith, family, fitness. It's where life has taken me.
That's very cool. Well, we're going to wind up because I know myself, I have a bucket load of other questions. We'll have to have you back and we'll ask you a bunch more. We'll talk about our team fitness and et cetera. But what a pleasure to chat with you. For those that don't follow Jason, you do have Instagram. I don't know if it's private or not, but you can at least send a friend request to him. I'll tag it in the show notes if he lets me. But definitely, what a pleasure. When you do get a chance to drop into CrossFit, I love it, in Linden, Washington, be sure to look out for Jason. You'll see him. He'll be the guy who'll probably run up to you or walk up to you and introduce himself and give you a firm handshake. Great guy. I've known him for a number of years. Just always a pleasure to see him, to work out with him, but to know him. So thanks again for spending time with us, and great fortune in your continued life. Many, many years to you and Karen. And again, a happy early birthday, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure, and I'll be back.
Yeah. So this is Jonathan Cragle for the Unleash the Cragle podcast. We want you to check out the episodes. Be sure to like it, follow the links down below in the show notes, share with your friends, share with family, anybody who you think would be interested in listening. And again, special thanks to Jason for spending some time with us. Take care all, and we will talk to you soon. Well, I'm so glad that we finally got that released out to you to hear. What a wonderful chance to chat with Jason. I know there's a lot more that we'll have to talk about the next time I have him on. For now, I just want to say thank you to him especially, and just wanted to encourage you again, make a trip to Washington State. And if you are here, if you're in Seattle, take the time to drive up an hour and a half north. Come to the beautiful city of Linden and Bellingham. Check out the sights, check out the beautiful surroundings, but also stop in at CrossFit. I love it. If you're looking for it on the webpage, it's CrossFit I1UVIT.com. I will put a link in the show notes for you to check out. You can drop in. There is a class schedule out on the website. They also have a Saturday free class at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings. If you're a local member or local person to Linden, Bellingham, Everson, Sumas, Nooksack, and the surrounding areas, you can drop in, check it out. Meet Matt and Kaylee, who we've talked about, and who I'll be having on in the coming episodes. Meet Jason. Meet a lot of the fantastic members of there, and perhaps you'll even meet the creator of Unleash the Cragle. But again, thank you so much to Jason. Thank you for checking out this episode. Thank you for listening. We're now December 1st as this is being released. And so we're finished with Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving should be every day, not just one day of the year. So I encourage you, keep that thankfulness going. And as we move towards Christmas and the Christmas holidays, it's a time of giving. But again, these holidays come to the end of the year or at the end of the year, but we really should be thankful every day. And we should be giving every day. So I'm going to encourage you from this point on and into the coming 2024 year to make thankfulness and make giving to others a daily occurrence. Challenge yourself to do it. Give to someone or thank someone every day. It's easy to get caught up, especially at the beginning of the year and the franticness of holidays and such, to forget the purpose of the season, the purpose of the rest and vacation. But my encouragement is for you to really make a commitment, not only for your fitness and taking care of your health, but taking care of your giving, your thankfulness, because those are not only things that help others, they help you also. I'm going to make that my focal point for the rest of this year and into the new year. I will talk to you soon. Again, check out our social media links. Follow us, like, subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We are not on Facebook, but we are on Twitter. All of them you can find. Unleash the Cragle is the username or the account to look for. Save yourself some time and just go down to the show notes. Click on them, subscribe, follow, and it'll be great. And I will love to have you be part of this community. Come back for the next episode. I have a special set of guests in store, and I'll give you a little preview. They're married. They run a company called SealFit. They are coaches at I Love It, and they're just really a fantastic couple. So look forward to sharing that with you in the coming week or so. Thanks again, everybody. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Take care of each other, and if at all possible, find someone who is in need and help them, maybe even do it without them knowing it. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.